But in the meantime, let's check in with Jack. He's got the Cafferty file, Jack.
Welcome to the big city.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Almost as cold as Buffalo, isn't
Very
it?
cold. No snow, though.
No snow. That's good. While world leaders meet to talk about combating climate change in Copenhagen, some people say that population control is, at the end of the day, the only real way to fight it. The Chinese instituted a policy limiting the number of children each family can have 30 years ago. And they claim that since that time, they have prevented 400 million births and saved carbon emissions to the tune of 18 million tons a year. And it's not just the Chinese. There's a piece in the Canadian newspaper, the Financial Post, suggesting the real inconvenient truth is that humans are overpopulating the world. It suggests every nation should adopt China's one-child policy, because if we don't control the Earth's population, we will eventually destroy or run out of everything, from other species to vegetation, resources, the atmosphere, oceans, water supply, and it doesn't matter whether the globe heats up or doesn't. The piece points out that despite China's dirty coal plants, it is a world leader in creating policy to combat the destruction of the environment. One study shows, this is interesting, that if from now on, starting today, every woman had only one child, the world's population would actually decline from 6.5 billion now to 5.5 billion by 2050. But if we do nothing, the population could soar to an unsustainable 9 billion people during that same time. Needless to say, there are a lot of folks who disagree vehemently with the idea of population control. Fundamentalist leaders, people who oppose birth control, and politicians from many of the emerging economies. But nevertheless, that's our question. Should mandatory population control become a part of the fight against global warming? Go to CNN.com/Cafferty file, post a comment on my blog. It's too many people, especially in New York. There are.
It's a provocative question.
It is a provocative
It's a serious subject, too.
Oh, it is a very serious. I mean, from 6.5 billion down to 5.5 by 2050, and if we do nothing, it'll go up to 9. And at some point, there's not going to be enough stuff for everybody.
At some point.
Yeah.
You and I will be long gone by
yeah. No, it doesn't apply to us.
All right, Jack. Thanks very much. Let's bring in Jack Cafferty for the Cafferty file. He's been chuckling as we've been talking.
Well, they were pretty funny.
They can be, yeah.
They were occasionally, yeah. It's pretty good material. All right, the question this hour is, should mandatory population control be a part of the fight against global warming? A writes from Oregon, pretty extreme, Jack. However, in the near future, that's certainly a consideration that many nations must make. When food, water, and critical medical services are in short supply, fewer people makes a lot of sense. Consider the enormous drain a family of 8 has on society and the community, and yet the state and federal governments reward huge families with benefits and tax breaks. Richard writes, wow, Jack, thanks very much. Finally, someone in the media has the guts to state the obvious. Everything you said's true, but you were too gentle. It needs shouting out. The fundamentalists and others opposed to population control have had their way for too long. Sean in Belvedere, Illinois, morally, there are better ways of fighting global warming than infanticide. But sadly, this method makes more sense than carbon credits. Jay writes, absolutely. Every year we have deer hunting season with the argument that if we don't control the deer population, they'll overbreed and starve to death. Why can't these John and Kate and Octomom people see that the same biological mathematics applies to humans? On a planet of finite resources, you cannot just keep producing an ever-growing pool of consumers and still expect the whole thing will work. Paul in Toronto says, Jack, humans, like the H1N1 virus, are a virus, and if we don't get ourselves under control, Mother Earth will eventually create her own vaccine and destroy us all in order to protect herself. Sebastian in Ann Arbor, Michigan, finally, it's about time we started talking about this. As an only child, the son of an only child, and the parent of none, I say if you want more than one kid, then pay for it. A tax seems reasonable. Those who adopt would be exempt. And Sam says, this is the most ignorant question I've ever seen. All right, Sam. Maybe we'll get you next hour. If you want to read more on the subject, go to my blog, CNN.com/Cafferty file.
Because all of your questions are very intelligent. This one...
Well, this one is ignorant, according to Sam.
To Sam.
The most ignorant
He loves
question.
all the other ones. Thanks. Thank you.